My camera thinks the snowman is a person. Hello, hello! It's World Book Day! The purpose of World Book Day in the UK and Ireland is to get kids reading. So in the name of that, I'm sharing my top 3 children/young adult books. 2 of these books are the start of a series that follow the protagonist from age 11 upwards, or 12 upwards, and one of these books is just a young adult book. As a child and a teenager, I was a prolific reader. Everywhere I went, I carried a book. Considering the fact that I was such a prolific reader as a teenager and a child, it is surprising how few of those books have stuck in my memory with titles, authors, storylines. My wife's cousin's kid is 11 years old this year. He's about to start secondary school. And I'm sort of using this, I'm sort of coming at this video with the theory of these are books that I would or have recommended to him. So, without further ado, in no particular order, except that actually this one is definitely the top one for me. Number 1, Artemis Fowl by Eoin Colfer. The basic premise follows Artemis Fowl, a genius 11-year-old, as he seeks out a fairy to hold for ransom in order to restore his family's fortune after his father's disappearance. Why does this make the list? Well, not only is it the book that I remember most vividly from my childhood, but it had everything I wanted from books at the time, and it still ticks a lot of the boxes of things that I want from a book now. Just to be clear about how much me, my older brother and my mum loved this book. We had the physical book that we went and got signed by Eoin Colfer. We had the audiobook on cassette tape that we used to listen to in the car. Yes, cassette tape. I now have the book on my Audible account, and because technically the signed copy of the book belongs to my brother and has my brother's name in it, I now have my wife's copy of the book because it was one of her favourite childhood books too. As a child, I was obsessed with anything magical and everything fairies. The world that Eoin Colfer builds within the Artemis Fowl books is unlike any other world I've ever read. The fairies have escaped the surface, and the mudmen, or humans, as we like to call ourselves, and they live underground in hugely technological cities. It's really influenced by Eoin Colfer's Irish heritage. It's got a lot of Irish and kind of UK folklore elements to it, and it's wonderfully combined with a sort of steampunky sci-fi type vibe with the way that the fairies run themselves. Like, they don't have wings that are like, well, some of them have natural wings, but most of them don't have natural wings, so they've got mechanical backpack wings that they can use, like jetpacks, but they're fairy wings and all sorts of stuff like that. It's really amazing. It's especially good for nerdy kids and people who want physically and mentally strong female characters, as well as well-written ones. Number 2 is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. The basic premise follows Percy, a 12-year-old with ADHD and dyslexia. He's living with a single mother, struggling to manage his SPLDs. Oh, and in the first chapter, he discovers he can miraculously read ancient Greek, and his teacher is trying to murder him. Percy ends up on a journey across the US, searching for Zeus's lost lightning bolt, trying to figure out who he is, and balancing new friendships with the ever-hanging prophecy that one of these new friends is going to betray him. Why does this make the list? While this book did have me convinced that I would be able to fluently read ancient Greek, spoiler alert, I cannot. It is one of the most accurate and positive portrayals of dyslexia that I have ever seen. Now, I can't speak from a standpoint of having ADHD, because to my knowledge, I don't have ADHD, but I do have dyslexia, and it was so nice to see a protagonist who also had dyslexia. Percy isn't angry about having dyslexia. He deals with it in the best way that he can, and the skills that he learns, the skill set he gains from managing dyslexia and ADHD are what ultimately allow him to manage the trials put upon him during the book. And it was really nice to see that sort of dyslexia as a positive thing rather than dyslexia is something that has to be overcome. Like, the skills that you learn from dyslexia are applicable to other situations in your life. And it was just really good to see that as a dyslexic kid. The film was awful. Do not watch the film. There's no reason you have to have dyslexia to read the book, or you have to have ADHD to read the book, or to enjoy the book, or to understand the book. I think it's a book that anyone can enjoy. Like, if you like adventure books and Greek mythology, this is the book for you! And number 3 is Geek Her Other, a fangirl fairy tale by Ashley Poston. The basic premise is that Elle is a classic sci-fi geek. She's a cosplayer, convention attendee, and daughter of a convention founder. Of course, as with all Cinderella novels, her father is lost to her and her stepmother is not her biggest fan. See what I did there? Since her father's death, she avoided conventions, but when she sees a cosplay competition where the prize is a ticket to Excelsicon's masquerade ball and a meet and greet with the reboot show's main guy, one Federation Prince Carmindor, probably not pronouncing that correctly. We also get to follow within the book the teen actor playing Federation Prince Carmindor in the reboot. He misses his days as just another convention attendee, wishes he hasn't just been written off as another heartthrob before he even gets a chance to show how much he loves the show and how much he can bring to the part. Why does it make the list? I love fairy tale retellings, especially clever ones, and more especially ones with added LGBT characters. They're just side characters, so don't get too excited. But it does have added LGBT characters, and that's always a plus. Conventions, cosplay, thinly veiled Star Trek references, redeemable antagonist. What's not to love about this book? If I read this book as a teen, I would have broken it from reading it so much. I also probably would have got into cosplay way sooner. I only read it a couple of years ago, and I still absolutely loved it. The beauty of this, in comparison to a lot of Cinderella type stories, is the way the stepfamily is portrayed. While they're completely at odds with Elle, and ultimately ready and willing to ruin her dreams, they each do so for explored and somewhat understandable reasons, which I find a lot of Cinderella-based stories are lacking in. I'd recommend it to any geek, anyone who loves cosplay, anyone who loves romance, and anyone who loves fairy tale retellings. So yeah, those are my top 3 children/young adult books for World Book Day. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to my channel. I post on a semi-non-regular basis. If you'd like to stay up to date with my world, my life, my rabbits, and my writing process, you can follow me on social media. I am on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. On the last Friday of every month, I post one read aloud of a random short story from nopoodles.wordpress.com. Those are stories that I write. Oh yeah, you can check them out on nopoodles.wordpress.com. And I will see you next time.